Hello everybody. I wasn't sure whether I was going to do another video myself on this subject, but for me it wasn't about, it's her, she's my favourite, it's him. But this whole thing with Chris Watts and Shanann Watts, I never ever felt that she had murdered her children, never. And I'm quite really gobsmacked when we think we're so modern and we think we're so clever, that basically so many people set up these groups, ripped her to pieces for information that you weren't supposed to see, and pull her out to pieces with her life. What I mean is, yes, she was in the public, yes, those things were on Facebook, but in a reality there was a lot of private videos, and then she had her Thrive stuff, but she wasn't expecting that the whole world would be seeing it and then pulling her to pieces. So I suppose you either liked her character or you didn't. But, you're making assumptions. And then you see all the stuff coming out after Chris Watts has been sentenced. The bit they're going to show you. And don't you all see that poor Shanann had no idea what was going on with her husband? What I mean is, he masked it all. And a lot of people can be very private and not talk to their partners when they're married. But what I mean is, she was in love with her life. She loved her husband and her children. She may not be Mrs. Perfect and so forth, and there were things going on, but who is? Because if you think you're perfect, you're not. So she had no idea what was coming. Absolutely none. And all along, her husband had been obviously having affairs, because there's two of them, isn't there, in the papers that have come out. One before Nicole, and then obviously Nicole. But now it looks like she knew more than she's let on, and she knew him for longer. And all along, while she's trying to have a marriage and a life, her husband is cheating on her, which is lying and deceiving, and obviously not looking at her with much respect in the first place, because if you really love someone, why would you do that? You wouldn't have an affair. And her dad said it in court. Why weren't they enough? They really loved you. Okay? So behind her back, he's lying, cheating, withholding. And now you can see by her texts that there wasn't really much that she'd noticed that was wrong, until she went to go and stay with her family for those 4 or 5 weeks, only a matter of weeks before she died. She had no idea. And then everything seemed to change, and then he's saying that he didn't want to be married and all that. She's pregnant now with his baby. One of the most vulnerable times of your life is being pregnant. I know a man maybe can't understand that, and not everybody that's had children then will understand that. But I'm telling you, when you're carrying, nearly, I'd say 90% of women will know they're pregnant and are carrying a baby. It changes your whole life, really, from the moment of conception, when your hormones start changing and so forth and so forth and so forth. So you always know you're pregnant, even if the world doesn't see it. And so her body, everything had already been changing. She was 4 months pregnant, nearly 4 months pregnant, and then her husband tells her that he doesn't want to be with her after he was the one that wanted the child. And then there she is trying to save her marriage, and he's not interested, and within a few weeks he's killed them all. I mean, I just don't see how anybody could put this on Shanann. And when you start reading these messages, you see that she was a human being full of compassion, very sensitive, and actually fairly stable and clear with her thoughts and stuff. She wasn't going, oh my God. She wasn't like, she was still, even in her moments of dire towards the end when she really realised something was wrong in her life, she was still able to be very coherent, etc., etc. And everybody's made up all this stuff about her. And I just feel so sorry. Imagine being murdered by someone that you love. Imagine being pregnant with their baby and they don't want you. Imagine realising within a few weeks your husband's having an affair. And just the whole thing. I mean, maybe she spent a lot of money. But if you equate what he did to her with money, then isn't everybody got it the wrong way round? The people are the most important, not the money. The people. Without the people, there's nothing. Money is just paper. Yes, we need money. We need money to survive. But on the other hand, nowadays, the money is the most important thing and not the people. And I just see that Shanann was very sensitive, and maybe those last few videos, you do realise that she's realising something. There's just things that she's saying, but no one else would notice. You just notice it now because of what's happened to her. I feel so sorry for that woman and those children and what he did to them. He was hoping that their bodies would dissolve and no one would ever know they were there. How he could do that, looking at them brushing their hair and all that. What the hell happened to him? And really, well, I wouldn't like to be Nicole, because basically, if she it's not maybe her fault she gave him an ultimatum. And if you're the other person and you realise they're married, you know, and you care about that person, it is a bit of a whatever. I really hope she wasn't involved in any of this and didn't know more than she's saying. Really, really, I do. But for him to lie so much, even about giving the wedding ring to her friend the day he'd killed her. Like, he didn't... I said in my last video that he wanted his cake and eat it, and he did. He was having his cake and eating it. He was having sex with women when he felt like it, and then telling his wife different stuff and trying to have a life there, and that's having your cake and eat it. I really do not know what happened at the very end for him to turn around and to kill them so barbarically, and try and cover it all up. I do realise that the reason he's where he is right now is because of Shanann's friend knowing something was wrong with what she'd been saying, and I suppose the girlfriend coming forward at the end. But I really hope that she's not involved in withholding stuff, and the only reason she's come forward is obviously to make sure that she, you know, she's sorted. But I mean, I suppose in this murder case maybe you do, but I really hope that she's not involved. But there's things that aren't true, and for everybody that blames Shanann when behind her back, without her knowledge, all this stuff was going on. Maybe when she's on trips, maybe when she's away, whatever it is. You know, how can people put this on her? And, you know, when you realise that basically the baby got aborted somewhere along the line as well. Imagine what she was put through. All because someone was having an affair in Fantasyland. Because probably if he got her, you know, remember he tried to get Shanann for a while. She said no, so he was persistent. So he'd be persistent with the girlfriend until he got her, and then he wouldn't want her. It's just such a shame. I just can't understand where that man... And anyway, the other thing as well is we live in such a narcissist society. I just can't believe it. And people don't realise. They think that the wisdom that they're giving is wisdom and wise words. But because they're so narcissistic and the society's so bad right now, all they're giving is their anxiety, and they haven't noticed the difference. And that's what I see when all these people wanted to protect and everything. Protect Chris Watts and all these groups saying things about Shanann. And now everybody's seen like the stuff afterwards, which has just come out, you know, the whole thing about the case. And they just realise that Shanann was the absolute victim in this. I hope people are really ashamed of themselves, but they won't be, and they'll make excuses. But anyway, we need to get away from this narcissist society and realise that the people are the most important, not the money, not the things, not the car, not the house. Yes, they are important, but without the people, without love, without all that, what do you have? You have nothing. And if you start changing that, then maybe the people will grow up and less crime, less everything will happen. The vibrations of the people need to change. And I just really hope that people are really embarrassed about what they said about Shanann, now knowing what they've seen from all those texts and affidavits, all those things. Anyway, I just want to finish now, and I just so feel even right now for Shanann and those little girls, even though they've gone. You feel for the family. I just, please everybody, we've got to start treating each other a lot nicer than we are. Anyway, thanks for listening. I just thought of something as I'm finishing this video. There is something that is a bit strange. If her phone, shoes, bag, everything was there, right? How come the wedding ring's there? What I mean is, he didn't seem to do the detail, did he, at the time? Because there wasn't enough time, because he'd only just killed them, really, when it all starts going wrong for him because the friend gets involved. So how come the wedding ring's there? We'll never ever know what happened. But maybe this happened. Maybe when she got in, they did try and talk, because even if Shanann wasn't feeling very good, and she did mention that she was spotting, so she was obviously worried about the pregnancy, she wouldn't have left speaking to him. She just wouldn't. She loved him. So maybe they did talk, and what it was is there was an argument, and she took her ring off. She took her ring off because, you know, I've done that. I've taken my ring off. Maybe she did it in front of him. Well, until you can treat me right, or whatever it is, or tell me the truth, or maybe she didn't really know much. Maybe there was a hunch that there was a girlfriend on the side and he was doing something, but he was saying he didn't. So, you know, in her mind, she wanted to save her marriage and see the best in him. But she wasn't wearing her wedding ring. I can't imagine that suddenly he kills her and, oh, I better take the wedding ring off. Why would he do that? I just don't think he would have bothered. So she obviously took the wedding ring off. Maybe they had an argument. Maybe she said all these things. Just because he didn't really want her didn't mean anybody else could have her or she could go. Because that's what dominators are like. Just because he's quiet didn't mean that he wasn't a dominator. Or he wasn't directing. You know, he's only got to say what he did. I don't want you to. Look how much she changed. Yeah? So he was in control of her feelings. And because she loved him. So taking the wedding ring off, maybe she did. Maybe they had an argument. And then that was it for him. But in a sense, it already looks like he kind of planned it. Maybe he didn't. Maybe it was just his work roster. Maybe he added it all up rather quickly. Maybe she said, I hate you, I'm leaving you, I'm taking the children tomorrow. All these things. Then he just snapped. Anyway, we'll never know. And while he's sitting there in prison, I hope he realises what he's really lost. Look, maybe it was false, all these pictures. But look what's there, and then look what he's got now. Anyways, beautiful little girls. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to the extra bit. It's just an idea I had. I took my wedding ring off. You're trying to make a point. There probably was an argument. She went to bed, and he snapped. Who knows though. Anyway, thanks for watching.